Let's talk about the notorious astrology sign Scorpio. So this video is for you in particular if you have many planets, many positions in your natal chart in the astrological sign of Scorpio. So maybe you only know your sun sign. Many people will say, I'm a Libra, or I'm a Sagittarius, I'm an Aries, and this is often just your sun sign. And what many don't know is that you actually have a whole natal chart where all of the planets and asteroids are in certain astrological signs. And this has a huge influence on who you are as a whole person, rather than just your sun sign. So I know there will be many of you out there searching this, as I know myself too. I have about 6 planets in Scorpio. So this video is going to give some insight into strengths of Scorpio, weaknesses of Scorpio, and ways to help balance it. First off, Scorpio is usually known as the intense energy. It can be quite intense, and I actually, when I first got into astrology about 10 years ago, I thought Scorpio was a fire sign because it seems to have this penetrative, fiery energy. But it's actually a water sign. It's deeply emotional, but that intensity can make it feel like it's fire because it has this certain danger to it, it can seem like. And it doesn't have to be a dangerous sign, but there's just this level of, this real level of power to it. Often you can identify people who have many planets in Scorpio. They have dark hair, dark eyes. It's not limited to this, but it seems to be a bit of a standard. And maybe they carry themselves in a bit of a mysterious way. You might find with these people, you're always longing to hear a little bit more. You feel like maybe they slide a little bit under the radar and they're a little quiet, but it's like they have some secret. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto is the queen, the king of secrecy, underworld, depth, shadow. So often Scorpio people and people who have a lot of Scorpio in their charts have a lot of this intensity and this depth, and it can be quite shadowy, it can be quite dark, and in abuse or in imbalance it can be really can lead to maybe some really heavy mental activity, neurosis, depression, and these things aren't so abnormal, but the Scorpio has to learn how to balance and work with its shadow, work with its gifts to be able to feel so deeply. A few strengths of the Scorpio energy are clear seeing, being able to see things so clearly, see through the BS, really see what's going on beneath someone's character, beneath their facade. Scorpio is also deeply intuitive, connected to the esoteric, connected to the occult. Very loyal when in partnership and friendship. A Scorpio trusts very deeply, but as soon as that trust is broken, it can be hard for them to forgive because they have so much loyalty and they really give themselves to their lovers, to their friends. Another gift I find with the Scorpio is this curiosity, this fascination with life and willing to look at all areas of life, not just the happy, curious, but also the morbid even, or the scary parts, or the taboo where many people aren't willing to go. Often Scorpios hold this certain ability to dive into the taboo, to dive into the hidden places and want to discover. Now for some of the weaknesses of Scorpio. One of them is possessive. So if a Scorpio is not balanced and they're giving all of their energy and dedicating so much loyalty to someone or something or some friend, if this person betrays them or betrays their trust or doesn't keep an agreement, Scorpio can be they can hold a grudge quite strongly and also become very possessive of others, controlling even, and maybe even manipulative, just trying to get their deep emotional needs met. Sometimes this can be warped into control, manipulation, possession. And Scorpio sometimes, because I know for myself, we can be emotional to a fault. There's a healthy level of emotion, and then there's a super level of emotion, which Scorpio loves to go to. But when you pass that line of becoming a bit neurotic and a bit self-absorbed in your own downward spiraling emotions, this can be a bit detrimental to your health, to your mental functioning, to your relationships, to your heart, and to your soul. So it's important for Scorpios to remember, your emotions are a gift, But don't abuse that gift and don't overuse that gift and trap yourself in a ditch, at least not for a long time. Sometimes good things can come from those journeys down into the darkness. But it's good to know when to call for help and have someone throw down a rope for you to climb back up. Another weakness of Scorpio, if you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, something to look out for, is, as we said, stewing over things for a long time secretly. So someone betrays you and then you just hold on to it and you bury it down in your deep abyss and it rots and it smolders and it creates a bit of this anger, this intensity that subconsciously you'll actually want to project onto other people. So it's really great to know these things, because when you're in alignment with your gifts and your strengths of being a Scorpio and having a lot of Scorpio placements in your chart, you can be this powerhouse, this intense, emotional, feeling, mystical powerhouse, and the world needs that, and it will seek that. It's just about keeping yourself in check and watching out for your emotions, watching out for your grudges, watching out for tendencies to want to manipulate or control, and not being too hard on yourself about it. Just catching it, forgiving it, and taking a step forward. And one little extra tip for all you Scorpios out there, I do a lot with aromatherapy. I actually have a Udemy course that I'll put the link to. It's all about aromatherapy and the chakras. But my one tip for you today, if you find you are a bit overactive or super underactive in Scorpio, using jasmine essential oil really helps balance Scorpio energy. So having a roller or taking just a bottle of oil and dabbing some on your lymph nodes, under your nose, on your wrists, and just smelling it. Jasmine is actually known as Queen of the Night. And I find that Scorpio is this. It's the queen of the nighttime, the queen of the darkness, or the king, if you're a man watching this with Scorpio in your chart. So that's my little tip for you, is get some nice quality jasmine oil and keep it on hand when you want to balance that scorpionic energy. That's all from me today. I hope you have a beautiful day and enjoy this juicy Scorpio energy that you are. It is a true gift.